Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday. Welcome to Hump Day, people. It is Hump Day. Who's with me tonight? Kitty's in first. How are you, Kitty? Great to have you here tonight. Kristen, hello. Good to have you here as well. Ellen, live. Ellen, I get you live tonight, you and Mike. I hope you are both well tonight. Great to have you with us. Exciting to have you here live. Tell me what everybody's grateful for this Wednesday night. Yes, it is Wednesday. Wednesday, Wednesday. Everybody loves it's Wednesday. Whoop, whoop. Watching from the store. I hope that's a good sign, Kitty. I hope that means that things are so busy that you had to stay late. Hey, Kim. What is going great in your world today? Tell me about it. I want to know. On this wonderful Wednesday, grateful for a busy day. Yeah, we were busy again today too. That's this whole week's been steady. Very nice week so far. So I always like that. When the register's ringing, that is the kind of Jewish Christmas bells that we like. Hey, Adele and Dazzle. That is what we call it. You know. Take that for whatever you want. But it is great to have you all here. Put out 15 tubs of Christmas decorations. You're even ahead of us, Kitty. But you're being smart about it. You're ahead of us on Christmas, but you are being smart about it. And I bet you sold some of it today. Unless you did it tonight before the after the store closed, but I bet you'll sell a bunch of it by this weekend. Yeah, we gotta move forward. We gotta be moving that stuff through, and that's important. Put cash in the register. That is the important thing. However we get it, and people are doing it. So you're doing it. That is great to hear on this Wednesday night. That's perfect. I love it. I love it. I do. I'm actually jealous, Kitty, that you already got it out and selling it. That is true. When the register is ringing, Neil is singing. You don't want him singing, but you are. But that is a no truer a saying could be said, Adele. Sales is a forgiver of all other evils. So, all other evils. That is exciting. So, that is great. I love hearing that. That is wonderful. Hey, Patty Johnson. Great to have you with us here. Great to have everybody here live tonight. Live on this Hump Day. Hey, Joanne. Great to have you here. Love having you here. Just was emailing with Bernadette, your friend there. So, great to have you here. Just thinking of you as I hit send on that. Introducing me to Bernadette. Hey, Julie Jankowitz is here live. Great to have you here. All right, let's get this party started. We're going to go tonight in the Good Morning, Good Night book. We're going to page 108. 108. Good morning. You are stunning. Use your power wisely. Use your power wisely. That's where we're going there. All right, I got a lot tonight, and we're going to go flying fast because it's Wild Wacky Wednesdays, folks, so let's get to it. Da-da-da-da. Because I want to get to what you really want to hear about. Target reports a monster quarter. Profits jump 80%. 80%. But what's more important is that same-store sales set a record. And that's what's really interesting. So e-commerce services saw dramatic growth at the retailer. And stores that were open at least a year climbed 24.3% during the quarter. That's huge, because what other people have been reporting in sales gains has been online and other things. So that, oh, now I'm jealous, Julie. Chocolate-covered graham crackers from Uniquely Sweet? Ooh, that sounds really, really good. Analysts were expecting $3.38 per share earnings. $1.62. They got $3.38. They were expecting $20 billion in sales. They got $23. Same source sales growth. They expected. So people expected, because of the pandemic, them to have 7.6% sales growth. They had 24.3. So that is just huge. The in-store sales growth and in-store traffic, okay, was huge. And apparel is now up, during double digits from the second quarter, So, I mean, there's a lot of good in this for brick and mortar, and that's why I share that, not to be woohoo about Target, but, I mean, when brick and mortar is doing good, it does well for all of us. So, that's what's important there. So, it's all good. And to remain competitive, like, hey, Michelle, great to have you here live with us, Michelle. All right, like, you didn't see this coming, okay? I told you this was all coming, and all the dominoes, one by one, have been coming. All right. FedEx, to remain competitive, will raise peak surcharges on Ground, Express, and SmartPost this holiday season. And they're going to start it early as October 5th, making it the final of the three carriers to levy hefty fees on shippers for the holiday season. And this is designed, again, for their bigger shippers, okay? For those sending at least, I think some of the other services were at $25,000 a week. FedEx is saying $35,000 will incur a $1 to $5 surcharge. All the other rates are going to go up. It's essentially just going to cost you more. So keep that in mind. Tomorrow's wine night. All right, Michelle, I love your wine nights. Love how you do that. So just keep that in mind, that shipping and keeping that in consideration. I know that you're not shipping 25,000 packages a week yet, but every penny counts. But it's also gaining you revenue. As I talked about in one of the posts this week, you have to look at the incremental revenue you're gaining with online sales. You can't just look at the cost of shipping. Which sometimes you win and sometimes you lose with that. Hey, Angie! Great seeing you on the beach today. That was really wonderful. Hang on one second. I'm going to save that for tomorrow because I got to read that some more. This is something that I've been seeing. Hey, the Linda light is on. Boom, Linda is on. We're turning the Linda light on. Moody's Analytics, retail rents to decline 11.1% this year. That's in line with what I am seeing nationwide as I've worked with different, with you all on rents and landlords and things. 10 to 15% rent reductions have been commonplace out there in a lot of areas. So rents overall are coming down, and that's what people are seeing in the industry. The office property sector is probably going to be next, where they're projected to fall about 10%, but even more in major metro areas such as New York, where they're expected to fall over 20%. And they're expecting vacancy rates for office spaces rising to about 20% next year. So that could be kind of interesting. Walmart's online sales doubled. Well, that's not a big surprise. E-commerce sales for Walmart were up 97% year over year. Sam's Club's up 13%, with e-commerce growing 39%. Operating income in the U.S. grew by 8.5%. Now, here's what's interesting with this, okay? And this is actually different between Walmart and Target. But Walmart and Home Depot and a couple of the others have been lumped into stimulus spending. And so they're actually dampening down forecasts moving forward because of the lack of stimulus spending, okay, that they received such a boom from both stimulus spending and any place else that people could spend money being closed. So because of that, and especially the stimulus, okay, they are saying their sales in the don't expect the same in the third quarter. Happening. People didn't get a $1,200 check right now and aren't getting it. And if they get one, if the government gives them one, which I'll cover later a little bit, they are not likely to spend it all at Walmart and the corresponding retailers that got it the first time around. Walmart, the depots, Amazon. So there are other options for them. So think about that as that it moves forward, because that is kind of interesting in how it was spent and what they're saying moving forward for sales. So while they are seeing strengths in their online and other things, overall, they acknowledge they're not going to get all the money next time. Danielle, how are you down there in Florida? You and Bonnie, right? I got the right name. Danielle and Bonnie I got. I put the right people together, I think. Well, it's a good time to pay less, and pay less shoes are coming back to life. They've been resuscitated. We've got nothing. Give it more power. Give it more power. Ah, Payless is back. And they're planning hundreds of stores. They've relaunched online with plans to open a flagship store in Miami in November that's home to its new headquarters. They will feature brands like Airwalk, American Eagle, not affiliated with American Eagle Outfitters, K-Swiss, Kendall, and Kylie and Aerosols, according to a press release. The Payless stores, which they've dropped shoe stores from its name, will also reopen 30 to 45 stores in Texas and other border states by 2021, with the goal of running 300 to 500 stores in North America over the next 5 years. So it'll be interesting to see the comeback, but again, they were saddled with debt and other things, so this could be a great turnaround story and a great revitalization, and it serves a place in the marketplace for affordable footwear. I mean, have you heard the new ads Skechers is running? I mean, Skechers is going right after Nike. I mean, like, blatantly in your face, like, almost as bad as the Coke and Pepsi wars back in the day of times. They are in an all-out advertising campaign against Nike, and it is interesting to watch. Oh, great to hear you're doing great, Danielle. And Sarah, great to have you here as well. That is that. I don't think we have anybody live watching in Louisiana. No one, I don't know that anybody that's tuned in tonight live is in Louisiana. But I'll be posting later tonight. It's already scheduled, so it'll be up within the hour. And it'll be over at narts.org/resalestrong. Narts.org/resalestrong by noon tomorrow. Okay, the Louisiana is investing in business. I mean, like freaking crazy investing in business. Okay, with grants, not loans. The state of Louisiana has put an expletive ton of money into revitalizing the state's businesses as grants, not loans. You can get a grant up to $15,000 in the state of Louisiana under the Louisiana Main Street Recovery Grant Program. Okay, direct from the state of Louisiana. They are about keeping Louisiana in business. I love this. They've set aside $275 million. $275 million. It's like real money. That's more than $250 million. More than $250 million they have set aside for small businesses. And you can get up to $15,000 as a grant. A grant. You don't have to pay this back. Okay, if you are in Louisiana, you are crazy not to get this. They've also made it originally, it was worded so you couldn't get it if you got a PPP. They've waived that. They fixed that. So you can get this. Okay, if you are in Louisiana, take the time, do the paperwork. If you need help with the paperwork, contact me. I will help you. Get this grant. This is worth it. I actually was interviewed today for different things that were going on, and like one of the things in our area was a $500 grant or $1,000 grant that we were actually eligible for. But the paperwork was like this. I'm like, my time is better spent on something else. This is $15,000. It's real. It's not that difficult. You should take advantage of it if you're in Louisiana. And other states should follow Louisiana's model. Okay, if you know somebody in another state, in state government, they should look at what Louisiana is doing to invest in their communities, because this is just smart. Okay, you keep good communities together, and it is just smart. And it was interesting, because people are like, you turned away free money from your community, and I'm like, I'm all for it, but this wasn't free. By the time you took the time for all the paperwork for the little bit of money that we would have gotten, it was not worth it. I can do other things to generate that money, and would be better focused and a better use of my energy and resources. So, but $15,000 from Louisiana, I want to move to Louisiana. Get me some beignets too, and some other good food. I love good food. So, but you all know that already. Okay, before we turn to politics, this was one thing that came across my desk that was reminded that I should talk about with the PPP and forgiveness, okay, is the 8-week versus 24-week with owner salary. So owner salary is capped under at 2.5 months of 8 weeks of you were capped at $15,000 under the 8-week time frame for owners. Okay, if you use the 24-week time frame, you're capped at $20,000 or just under $21,000. And I had not made that distinction. So if you're using the 24-week time frame, owners can collect up to $21,000 of income, as long as they had that in 2019, or $15,000 under the other, but it's really based on your 2019 income. So I did want to make that distinction there for you real quick. The other important part, though, is exhausting your PPP if you're going to be eligible for a second one, which brings me to politics. Okay, so I spent time today. Hey, Kurt, how are you? Always good to have the Welties with us. The Welties are with us, folks. Good to have you. Had the opportunity with a certain Southern Florida senator today, and I was very good. I did not play. I called all the right names, so I got it right. I did not say polo during it. I did not say polo. Hey, it's my play. I'm so good. Well, you've got a great team, Michelle. They get things. They get things. So I was really teased prior to speaking to this senator to not use polo. And I had the Geico ad in my head and everything, and playing Marco Polo with Marco Polo. I had the whole thing, and it's, you guys get me on a rant, and, it's so easy to confuse me, and I'm bad with names to begin with. But I stayed off that and stayed on topic. So what's happening in Washington, okay, and how are things, and why is he important? Okay, he's important because he's chair of the Senate Small Business Committee. Okay, and he was instrumental in crafting a lot of this. So what was good, what was bad in this conversation? Okay, I was disappointed in this conversation at a couple of points. And part of it is backwards looking, okay? You can look anything backwards with 20/20 vision, okay? And we've talked about that before. See, you're trying to get me going, Michelle. I'm an easy target. Polo! See? It's a good thing you weren't on the call. It's a good thing you weren't on the call. So what was I disappointed with? Let me get that out of the way first. So they started planning the PPP back in February, okay? And because they were anticipating this total shutdown and everything. Not as long as it was or as deep as it was, but they were planning for that, okay? And I guess good that they were planning. I guess bad that we weren't medically planning sooner. I'm disappointed in our government leadership on that. But the structure for the PPP, the structure for different things was being planned on in February. And, the world didn't shut down till March. So that was sort of a gut punch to me in this conversation. Moving on, okay. Let's move to what's happening today and what they're doing, because I'm like, you guys are so freaking busy trying to keep your job, you're not doing your job, and you're not understanding how America is getting burned, okay? Real Americans, livelihoods, lives are being torched in this process. So you guys need to get your act together. And to hear him understand and accept the contrary argument that there is fraud. Okay, there is fraud in all in every government program. You can find fraud. I don't care what it is. And I talked about this with somebody the other day. Oh, well, that was actually one of my other things today. Let me step back for a second, because this is good. This goes to my ultimate point with this. Okay. Is do you have ants? Okay. Do you have ants? Well, I have an Orkin man, but his name's Leo. I think he comes this week, actually. But ants, automatic negative thoughts. And I actually had this conversation with one of my managers this week, because she was frustrated with some of that, and I'm like, well, that's the low-hanging fruit. It's easy to be negative. Automatic negative thoughts. Okay, what's the automatic negative thought on something? Okay, so that's just low-hanging fruit. It's much easier to be negative than it is to be positive. Much easier to be negative. Okay, that is low-hanging fruit. That is ants, automatic negative thoughts. So, in the discussion with the senator today, and what they're working on in Washington to make things happen, because I'm tired of them not doing so busy trying to keep their job that they're not doing their job. Okay, and I don't care what party they're in. Really, politics doesn't matter. That side of it doesn't matter. Well, and ants people are a problem. We had one today. My manager was like, multiple people, this employee is like, we had all these people this afternoon. I'm like, I'm counting the people. I can go count them on camera, One person coming in saying something that the restaurant next to us has their smoking lounge doesn't mean multiple people. Yes, it's a problem, don't get me wrong, but we didn't have all these people come in. I would love it if they did, but traffic isn't there yet. So give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. Hey, break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Okay. And get your Halloween candy early. Well, there's different things in that. I'm not going to throw stones at that, Nancy. And I understand the frustration in that, but I'm not going to throw stones at that without analyzing both sides' books. But there's absolutely fraud in these programs. I have no problem admitting it. Every government program known to man has fraud. But there is also tremendous good going on in these programs. Tremendous good. And it is helping millions of businesses, millions of people, millions of employees. More than not, it is doing what it intended. And quite honestly, things are so bad in this country, and the devastation is so bad, that you don't have time to properly measure the good versus bad of what these programs are doing right now. There'll be plenty of time to Monday morning quarterback it 2 years from now. Okay? But if we don't get the aid out to businesses, if we don't get the aid out to families that are in need, that are truly on unemployment and need this money, okay, the devastation will be far worse. The devastation will be far worse. So it is more important to get this out. So there's a couple of key things. So there is a new Senate bill that'll be released. I have it. It's called the Slim Bill. Okay, it is. I have the advanced copy of it. It's 169 pages. It's slim. Okay, I've sent it to my contacts for the. I'd like them to turn it into 2 pages one page front and back for me of the key points. But I'm going to break it down for you. There's a couple of things. So let's deal with the things that matter most to us. Okay, and let's start with PPP forgiveness. There will not be what you would call automatic forgiveness. Okay? And the reason for that, it is slim for government. I mean, I laughed at it. I'm reading it. I'm scanning it. I was excited to have access to it. Okay, I was like a kid in a candy store, and I had gotten a call shortly after I got it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, hang on a second. This is 106. I almost hit print because I like having the printed page to read, highlight, mark up. I'm like, this is 169 pages. Okay, so automatic forgiveness. The term is a non-starter. Okay, and the term brings out all the people that complain about fraud. So everybody that complains about fraud, you can't do automatic forgiveness. And regardless of the amount. So it's a terminology issue. It's not It's not the underlying principle of it, okay? They don't want businesses to go through undue hurdles, but they want you to have to, one, attest to it that you were honest, and I attest I was good and I used the money as I was supposed to do. Excuse me. And two, okay, they want you to have to document it. Okay? And so here's where it gets the rubber meets the road. Okay, so you're going to stand up and attest, "Hi, I attest that I used this money properly. I spent it on the allowable expenses. So help me God under pains and penalties of perjury." And those pains and penalties are harsh. Do you understand me? Do you understand how harsh they are? These would be very harsh. Yes, I understand. Okay, well, if you understand that, then you, hey, do you have the paperwork that could substantiate that you use these correctly? Yes, I have all the papers over here. They're over here. They're over here. I have them in a nice pile. Should anybody want to see them? Okay, well then your loan is forgiven. Okay, so it is a balancing act to get the other people on the other side for it. So there will be that it'll be something along those lines, but it will not be called automatic forgiveness. Okay, so you can't call it that. You can't say, if you're being interviewed, you can't say that. You have to say that I filled out the paperwork, and you stood up and said, "Yeah, I've confused you. Okay, sorry, Kitty, I didn't mean to confuse you." So it'll be like automatic forgiveness, but without the term automatic forgiveness. You'll be required to keep all the paperwork. You might even be required to show that you have a file folder of all the paperwork off to the side. Yup, I've got all the paperwork that says this should be forgiven. And then they will forgive your loan. Okay, because the banks don't want all your paperwork. But the other side doesn't want to call this automatic forgiveness because of the whole fraud aspect. So it's a balancing act. And we have to juggle this balancing act because without that, they won't buy into doing a second PPP. So with that, they'll buy into doing a second PPP, and that's part of the SLIM Act. The other part that will either be part of the SLIM Act, which is currently part of the SLIM Act, but may end up being its own standalone bill, is the IRS side of this. Okay, and down the line, your small little bank is going to understand it once this is all over. They don't want to know about it today, but they will understand it hopefully just past Labor Day is when this will all come down, Kitty. Between now and Labor Day, in the next 2 weeks to Labor Day is what I'm being told. They are actively working on it. I mean, the fact that I actually have the 169-page document shows me that they are coming along with it. Okay, so I am optimistic that Congress is actually going to do the job for the American people. And if your bank needs help with it down the road, you know I'm here to help them see the light. It's a different light than the Linda light is on. The other side of the PPP that is currently part of the SLIM Act, and that's actually the term, it's the SLIM Act, but may end up being a separate bill, is the taxability. So you have to remember that we're not being charged tax on the income from the PPP, and that's good. That's been clearly agreed to by the IRS and everybody. But the problem is that your income would be inflated this year because, according to IRS definition of the CARES Act, the expenses that you used PPP money on can't be included as an expense as part of your taxes. So that would inflate your income. So if you got $100,000 PPP and you weren't able to use, and you spent it all on payroll, for example, you wouldn't be able to count that $100,000 of payroll towards your expenses this year, and that would inflate your income. So that is part of the Slim Act correcting that, okay, so that you would be able to still count that, because it was in the original congressional intent, it was in the markup of it that this expense would be allowed, but there was a disconnect between that and the IRS. So that is part of the Slim Act. Those are three key provisions. So forgiveness, a second PPP. Oh, the second PPP threshold, it looks like it's going to end out. So in one of the versions, it was a 50% reduction in sales in revenue during the first or second quarter. There's been competing proposals. It looks in the Slim Act, and what it looks like it's going to end out as is a 35% reduction in sales, but during any 3-month period in 2020, okay, to qualify for a second PPP. Of PPPs under $250,000, 80% are expected to qualify for that. So that would be a good thing, okay, and you get to pick the period for that. So those are three key provisions of the Slim Act that directly apply to us. There's going to be some other things. I will get the whole thing digested. Now that I have access to it, I've sent it off to my other key contacts to get hopefully a couple-page summary when all their legal eagles and accountants toss over it, so I don't have to read line by line every word of the 169 pages. So that is my hope. Yeah, a lot of us will have that. A lot of us will have that, especially if we get to cherry pick the period. So, and if we fix the tax issue, a second PPP would be a true blessing and help so many of us get out of this hole that 2020 has created. So the key is, though, ultimately, one of the keys that I still need to get back to is making us more profitable moving forward. So it's not just getting out of this, it's growing your way out of this and making us more profitable moving forward. So those are a couple of the key things. I think there were some more things in my talk, in my notes. Yes, any quarter in 2020 is eligible. It's actually any 3-month period under the Slim Act you can use to make that percentage. But the 35% reduction from any previous 3-month period will be the qualifier of the same 3-month period. So over any same 3-month period will be the qualifier. And we'll have, and you say Marco, not Polo, I think. I don't know. I didn't play that game well. But I didn't play it today. I didn't do anything stupid during that call. I was really good. I practiced a lot. I practiced a lot. But that is the story there. I have a couple of other things out of that I'll share as the week moves on. But those are the key things and the most important things there. And the fact that Congress is actually working is more important than anything. Okay, that our government is trying to work for us. If I were to share one important message from that call, is that they are trying to work. So I am extremely happy with that side of it, is that they are trying to work and find ways to come together. Okay, I mean, you have divisive sides on both sides of this. They're very divisive. I mean, it's freaking ridiculous. I mean, I don't like the politics of politics. Especially when there is so much pain going on in this country. So much. And I know some of us will pick on the unemployed and wanted the extra 600, but there's some real reasons some people have stayed on unemployment. There's family issues, there's kid issues. I mean, the stress level that are going through people. I had one person that I was talking to today, and talking about the level of stress that parents are under as people are going back to school. And regardless of where you are in this country, whether you're going back in school in person or online, I mean, it was one thing in March. It really was, when parents thought, okay, this is 2 weeks, schools are closing for 2 weeks, big whoop. Okay, and then it was, okay, we got to do this through the end of the year. Well, May or June is here. Okay, we're in April already. That's okay, we can do that. But now that they see it again starting this year, they're really at the breaking point. People are really starting to break and fray. And so just having that little bit of compassion for them. I'm not saying it's easy. It's hard. It's hard. I can talk about it much easier. Even I can talk about it easier than I can do it. Okay? I realize it. I understand it. I know what the right thing is to do. Okay? I know the right compassion. I know the right level of listening. But I also know how hard that is to do. And you're seeing customers, you're seeing team members, you're seeing people at a breaking point. So just that extra bit of patience, that extra bit of compassion, that's what gets us from today to tomorrow. It's not about the next 100 days, it's not about the next 30 days, it's about today to tomorrow, people. That is what we need to focus on. And we will get there. We will all get there together. Because we're in this together. We're in different levels of ships. We're in different kinds of ships. We're in different storms. But we will all get there together. I promise you that, because you're not alone. This video and everything we talk about, including the great state of Louisiana and what they're doing, gets posted every night. Well, every day, by the next day by noon, to narts.org/resalestrong. narts.org/resalestrong. It's there for you to keep things really easy and organized so you can find it. It's also there so you can share it, because we're there to get everybody across the line. Everybody. We want everybody to follow the line, get across it. If you weren't going out of the business before COVID, my job here is to not let you go out of business because of it. People are tired, but people, that's where you need to take a night of sleep. You get a night of sleep, you get a night of rest, we recharge for another day. It's all about fighting for another day. We will get through this, people. We will. Okay? People in 1918, 1919 didn't think they were going to get through it. Then they roared into the 20s. Okay? We are going to have our roaring time. It's not tomorrow. I'm telling you that. But we will survive. We will get to another day. There is light out there. The light at the end of the tunnel is not a train. Share narts.org/resalestrong with all your friends in business. The wine shop next to Michelle, for example, is a perfect example of somebody that we need to make sure they get to the other side. We need to make sure everybody gets to the other side. Butcher, baker, candlestick maker, we're all getting to the other side. Oh, Marianne, I'm so glad you're here tonight. I didn't even see you pop on. I wanted to call you. I want to know where Noah's new position is. I'm so curious. I saw you out with Little Missy today. I wanted to actually call while you were with Little Missy, but I think the post was much later. But I was so excited to see you out and at Culver's and everywhere, and that you got to spend time with Little Missy. She is such a precious treasure. She's the national treasure that we should all be protecting. She needs Secret Service protection, I'm telling you. But narts.org/resalestrong. Share it with everybody you know in business. Share it with the manager at Culver's. We'll get Culver's to the other side. Those buttery buns. Oh my God, we need those. Now I'm getting hungry. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Neil Abramson. We do this every night at more 8 than ish. But if you have a question in between, you just email me, Neil, Neil, at ECIstores.com, Neil at ECIstores.com. Make sure you include your phone number with your area code so I can contact you back. Ladies and gentlemen, we start the night every night with our Good Morning, Good Night book. Our Good Morning, Good Night book is how we start the program. Tonight we started on page 108 with Good Morning. You are stunning. Use your power wisely. Our good night tonight is Good Night. You are stunning. Lay down your burdens. Look at that graphic. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Neil Abramson. I do like a good party. A wedding, a bar mitzvah even. I mean, shoot, Little Missy's birthday. I mean, she is a national treasure, Little Missy. I love her. She's awesome. She inspires me. She makes me get up to start another day. I mean, shoot, she's pretty cool. I mean, she is hip. She's so hip. We got to be square. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back here tomorrow night at more 8 than ish. Until Thursday, know that you and you, but most especially you, yes you, I'm talking to you right there in front tonight, are not alone running this store. It's time for dinner, everybody. Have a great night.